Hi, it's Christine with Moonshine Safari and
Anthony with Moonshine Safari.
woo!
Yeehaw.
So just as a quick reminder, we are always having spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the show or the books, you should not listen, but you do want to be spoiled, so you should listen.
Get spoiled.
Get spoiled. Okay, we are up to chapter 22 in the Outlander books, the regular book, first book, and we've been covering the episodes and the chapters as they come in to play in the books. So that's kind of, we're comparing them and whatever. We're also doing Blood of My Blood. If you want to check out any of that, go to MoonshineSafari.com. See all the past episodes. It's exciting. You should do it. Okay, chapter 22. So just as a reminder, Jamie just got Claire away from Blackjack Randall, and he was mad. And they argued, made up. But now, all of the men...
How did they make up?
Is
it shot worthy?
They had some... I think they actually did have some bombs to go out.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Pretty sure. They always do, so it wouldn't be surprising. So now all of the rescue men and Claire get to an inn after they travel to get away from the fort and the dragoons. And Claire knows that the men are angry with her. It's very uncomfortable. They're really not talking to her. They're kind of ignoring her. And it kind of goes back to when she first started traveling with them and they didn't trust her. So right now they're mad at her. So once they're alone, Jamie actually gets his belt out. This is very anti-modern times. It offends modern people's sensibilities. It offends Claire's sensibilities, and she's 80 years in the past at this point, but he definitely gets his belt out.
Let's just say, I would never do such a thing, and I am totally against this in today's modern era, but I cheered a little bit on the inside.
Well, okay, it's played very different in the books than it is in the show, because in the show he gets all like sort of doesn't really want to do it, he's repentant. In the books, at some point he goes, I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. It's kind of funny. It's very not.
It's a little bit like Ricky and Lucy.
Exactly. So
but he's, well,
don't get offended, because
he's letting her feel it.
Yeah, and it's very much a product of the times. They're supposed to be in 1743, I think, at this point.
And it helped.
They're not going to be.
It helped.
Well,
see, maybe we should maybe
stop it. Just stop it.
Okay.
Stop it. Okay. Anyways, he gets his belt out. Like I said, it's very anti-modern times. Jamie explains that they all could have died. They all could have been killed. If she was a man, they might have even killed him in retaliation. And that's why the men are mad, because they know that she caused many problems. But yet, even though they're angry with her, they all showed up to get her out of that prison. She can't be extra mad at them.
Did they do it for her, or did they follow Jamie?
Well,
because Jamie was going.
There's some question about, like, because Dougal was like, I don't know, maybe she's a spy for them. I'm not going to go get her. Either way, they went and got her.
Let's just say she's causing troubles. Yeah,
she was causing troubles. He's going to spank her. I'm going to say it that way. Can you say spank? I guess I just did.
Well,
he's going to punish her.
Let's just put it this way. We're not getting paid anyway. Nothing monetized, so it's not going to matter.
That's true.
She's getting an attitude adjustment.
Okay,
that's the song. Attitude adjustment.
When she resists, he actually tries to explain to her, and she apologizes and apologizes. She understands, but he said, I know you understand, but I'm still going to do it because it's different, you knowing it in your head, but now you're going to know it in your fanny, essentially.
Well, it's like you do to a child.
Well, okay, a little bit,
It's like you understand, but now there's still a consequence. I mean, yeah.
And that's kind of what he tells her.
We know you're sorry. We get it.
But he also says, you're not taking me seriously, and I need you to take me seriously.
Right. Plus, on the other hand, too, people are looking. People are watching him.
Yes. Well, actually, that's the next part, because he actually says that the men are mad, and they're going to be mad until they know that there's been a consequence for her actions. So she's not going to be comfortable even with the other men that are traveling with them until they feel like she's been punished, essentially.
He gave her a weak correction.
He corrected her.
A weak correction.
Let's see. She still doesn't want to allow it. He makes it clear that she can't really stop him. So he goes, look, if you just behave and basically submit to this, it's going to be easier with the whole punishment. If you fight me on it, it's going to be harder because I'm going to make it more difficult. So you have to decide. And truthfully, no one that's anywhere within 200 years of her is going to stop him from doing this. I mean, that's not where she was. That's not the time she was in. No one is going to stop this from happening. So she can either make it easier or make it harder, one way or the other. Just saying. So she first says she's going to go ahead and submit because she feels like she's trying to make it a little bit easier on herself. But then she ends up resisting him. Of course, it's loud, and she screams, and everyone knows what's happening. And the next day, she's mad at him. She actually, at one point in the night, she said she thought about letting him come and sleep in the bed because she felt bad because he was staying away from her for her benefit and sleeping on the floor. But then as soon as she rolled over, it hurt, and
Oh, the hell with that! She does. What?
He did.
He corrected her and then slept
yeah,
on
he
the
let her have
floor.
her space.
What?
But then
Oh no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You sleep in the bed right next to me.
At one point in the night, she's like starting to thaw a little bit. She turns over. When she goes to sit up, it hurts. So she's like, never mind. I'm still mad. So
he got her good if it was still
hurting.
hurting.
No, he got her good. But the men are now happy with her the next day. They're teasing her, and they're good because they know she got whatever they thought she had coming to her. And she still really can't sit at this point because she's sore there. But she starts to give a little on her attitude because she does like the fact that the men are not giving her the cold shoulder anymore and stuff like that. So
see, that's the way it should be. It's just like, hey, you did something, correction, and move on.
Well,
you're gonna be mad for a little while, but it'll get over.
Well, that's kind of how Jamie approaches it.
Except she can't ride.
No, well, she tries. So in the books, she really does kind of try to think it all through and try to be a little bit more fair. In the shows, she doesn't. There's no give for that, and that's because the shows are playing to modern people.
Sure. Yeah,
that's just. I mean,
sense.
I wouldn't be happy, but at the same time, I'm not in 1743. So she does try to consider it in both sides in the book. If I
pull my belt off, my pants will fall down, so you're pretty safe. It's all good. I wear a belt because I need a belt, not just
the strap. We call it the strap.
Well, they wore kilts, so they're kind of on there anyway. But
yeah, well, like I said, she understands that this is a strange time for her, and she kind of, like I said, she tries to think it through. Like it or not, that's what she does.
Perhaps it was his, the one he kept his sword on. That's probably it.
The men actually, she finds it hard to reconcile her past, Frank Who, basically, with Jamie because they're very, very different. And she kind of is thinking back and forth between the two men and how they would approach things. And that's not something Frank would ever do. But you would also find out eventually that Frank Who has some hidden, he's just more quiet about the things he does. It's not like he doesn't do what he thinks he needs to do. He's just quieter about it. Maybe it's not physical, but he was in intelligence and stuff like that. He does whatever he thinks he needs to do. So there's some plot points coming up with that kind of stuff. But, so they start traveling again because they're trying to get back to Castalia, okay? The men think it's a little funny, but they try to make it a little bit easier on her and have, like, frequent rest stops and stuff like that so she can get off the horse because it's not comfortable for her to be sitting on that horse. She finally finds an excuse to walk the horse. She says that the horse has a rock in its hoof or something like that, and it needs to walk for a while. And they all know what she's doing, but they kind of just let her do it because they know she's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But they also can't leave her behind while she's walking because she can't be by herself, obviously. Women, because of her behind. I mean, okay, the problem is women need to not ever be anywhere by themselves, especially in this time. Even now, it's not necessarily a great idea, just saying. So Jamie actually gets off his horse and says he'll walk with her. He's trying to be sort of conciliatory, but he's not apologizing, okay? And she's pretty grumpy with him. Her rear end is hurting, and Jamie's walking too when he starts to tell her it will be much better the next day. He tells her he's been there, and she's actually shocked, but she kind of thaws out a little accidentally when he says that because she's like, who could get this huge guy, and like spank him in that way? So she doesn't understand how that could even happen. And he starts to tell her that it was when he was a child. Basically, he had run-ins like this with his father and a teacher, and then he had times where when the teacher if the teacher if he got in trouble at school and he got swatted by the teacher, then he knew that he was also going to get swatted by his father for whatever he did at school that got him swatted in the first place.
That's what I was told growing up as a child. That's why I was a good kid. It's
very different than the book. They don't really go into this in the books. In the show, he tells her a lot about his growing up and when he would get in trouble and get the strap and all that stuff.
I never got the strap.
So in the books, she actually does try to understand more. She gets a nice glimpse into his family. You hear a lot about Jenny, and you hear about his dad and just all the discipline and stuff that happened in the house. You get a better glimpse than you've gotten so far into his family life. They don't really have time to go into this in the shows really when it comes right down to it, but it's a nice little glimpse into his family. She realizes that he's kind of trying to thaw her out. She sort of knows he's getting away with it a little bit, but she still likes him. That's the thing. So she kind of gives a little bit as they're talking, and he tells her a story about his teacher who hit him. And this is important because it kind of plays into the future plot. Basically, he got in trouble at school, and his teacher used to have a policy policy where he would have to hold his hand out and keep getting hit until the teacher thought he was done. The teacher wanted him to cry, and Jamie at some point realized that the teacher wants him to cry, and now he's not going to cry. It doesn't matter what you do to him. You could probably hang him by his toes upside down. He's not crying, and he actually tells the teacher, I know you want me to cry, I'm not gonna. And so the teacher gets pretty bad with him, but he doesn't do it. This is important for later, because this shows you who he is and how he reacts to this kind of stuff, and this carries through for future. So she says that Dougal actually had said that the Frasers were stubborn as rocks, and that also carries through. They always talk about how stubborn they all are, and that plays into the plot. And she said, well, so he tried to get you to cry. Did you cry? And he goes, try. So again, he never gave in. So they finally are going back again, and she realized that the conversation with him was intentional. He did this all to say he knows it bothers her, he knows she didn't like it, he knows she's unhappy with it, but he still feels like that's what he had to do. It's kind of his way of not apologizing, but trying to just bridge the gap a little bit. So they're more chatting, and they are talking about, again, when he was younger, and he lived with Dougal for 2 years, and he lived with Colm for 1, and he was educated, and etc. She knew he was educated, and he said, at one point he was a little bit of a brat because he could get the other kids to follow him, and he knew it. He got caught making fun of Mrs. Fitz. Well, you remember Mrs. Fitz. She is very important in the castle and all that stuff, and Colm did not take it well. He was very angry. And Angus, actually, he wanted to take fists for the insult to Mrs. Fitz because he wanted to basically do it like a man. He was 16. I mean, that was a man at that point. Colm knew what he wanted and wouldn't give it to him, made him actually get spanked in front of the entire castle by Angus, enter Angus, for that. And Angus, he said, was not too kind on him. He learned his lesson, and he actually apologized to Mrs. Fitz because, he was just trying to stir up the kids. He wasn't really trying to be mean to her, but he was not kind. So they laugh, and they talk about Lyra again and how he took the beating for Lyra. And he explains it to her again, and she finally believes it, that he wasn't interested in Lyra at all, despite the Huggy Bear Kissy Face time they had in the castle. He was never interested in Lyra. It just so happened that he felt bad for her because he didn't think that a woman would do as well being hit in front of the whole castle as he would. And they'd forget about it with him. They wouldn't forget about it with the girl. So he kind of just explains about that. And so she's fine with it. He admits that basically he's a man. So she offered some Huggy Bear Kissy Face time, and he took her up on it.
Yeah, I think Jamie likes it.
Well, he even says that, he's like with the other boys in the castle. He's like, he just knew he could rile them up, and that's what it was about. And so he did. So they're laughing, and she actually says she loves him. He said he doesn't understand. He's cracking up. He goes, I hit you with the strap and everything, and now you're just going to tell me you love me. He goes, I don't understand. Murtaugh was right. Women are crazy. It's actually pretty funny. She kind of thinks back to Frank Who a little bit, and she realizes that she cares for Jamie, she cares for Frank, and now the conflict is starting to actually make itself known in her mind. Before, she was basically always saying she was going to go back to the Stones, but now she's starting to think, you can tell she's starting to have some doubts in there. She's not saying that, but that's what she's thinking. After some silence, he tells her how his dad died, okay? So his dad came to the fort with Blackjack. He wanted to try to get him out. He was going to pay him. This was after the first flogging. He was going to pay him to try to get Jamie released, and most of the time, the men in these forts were open to bribery. Blackjack was not open to bribery. He was not interested. He was not going to let him out, which tells you a couple of things. First of all, he's got some weird thing about Jamie. Second of all, he doesn't need the money. So that's the question. Why doesn't he need the money? That's kind of important. So Blackjack had brought him into after his dad was sent away, Blackjack had actually brought Jamie into his office and said, I'll tell you what, I will not have you flogged for a second time if you submit to me with your body. Lovely. Lovely. And Jamie said he actually thought about it because he'd already been flogged 100 times. Who wants to go through that again? And he said, but he had just seen his father and he couldn't think that he could face his father again if he did it. And he said no. So Blackjack is really not happy. They send a doctor to see Jamie before the second flogging. And the doctor, whatever little doctoring they got, brings a little Bible with him. Bible was somebody who had been in that prison before. And this is another plot point. Keep in mind that Bible because Jamie carries it with him essentially his entire life. So he brings that Bible to Jamie, and that's how Jamie gets the Bible and, whatever. So that's kind of important. When he was flogged, he didn't realize that his dad was actually there in the crowd, but his dad was there and Dougal was there as well. But during the second flogging, his father, Jamie collapses because, he's being beaten to an inch of his life.
So close
and
to
his father thinks that basically he's being killed and he collapses himself and he has a massive stroke. He never comes out of the stroke. He dies as a result of it. Jamie doesn't even know that this has happened at this point. I mean, because he's not being able to pay attention to that stuff. But she kind of starts to understand what it cost Jamie to go into that fort to get her out of it, because that was where his dad died, basically. He almost died. It's not ever been a good place for him. And he had to go in there and get her out. So that's kind of, she starts to kind of put it into place where, wow, this is kind of a big deal. He basically says, you know, he says he didn't like to have to hit her, but he's not going to say he did enjoy it. So again, he's back to that. But he wants to come back to bed, and there you go, bomb chicka wow. That's the for sure one. I don't know if the other one was. But she invites him, and then she grabs the little knife that she carries with him. And this is very much similar to the book where she holds it up to him and she says she's going to basically get him if he ever raises his hand to her again. So she's making up with him, but she's not okay with the hitting. And he essentially grabs his sword like they did at the oath taking at the castle, and he basically does the oath to her, and he says he will never raise his hand to her. And
that's a mistake.
And that's how the chapter ends. Again, it's not exactly where the episodes end, but I think we'll be doing the next one will be an episode, I think, and I think it's episode 9. I think. Please check out MoonshineSafari for our past episodes, and also check it out for our other stuff that we have going on there. It's not just about Outlander. We have other stuff happening, and love it if you would check it. Also, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna like, share, subscribe. You know, we're trying to grow the channel a little bit, and it's fun.
Yeah, please do that. That'd be great.
And if you think we're missing anything, we want to know that too, because this is fun. I'm really liking these books. This is something I do every now and again. I get into a series, I get really far into it. So this is the one I'm in right now. Know if we're missing anything, and check it out with us next time. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.